The new Superman animated show, My Adventures with Superman, finally premiered, so I want to talk about it. So it had a 2 episode premiere. It came out on Adult Swim and HBO Max, and there's a lot to talk about here because I was anticipating the show not exactly in the best way because all the marketing for it seemed like it was for the Reddit, Tumblr, Twitter kids, and that didn't make me excited because it seemed like it was for those, hey, this isn't for the people that are fans of Superman, this is for the people that are fans of a certain type of show and like how quirky things are. And so I wasn't super excited for this show, but it's out now, and I gotta say, after 2 episodes, it's a mixed bag. There are some things I actually really like with this show, and some things that are really bad and dumb and stupid, and I don't understand why they did those things. But we're going to get into that throughout this video. So again, I had 2 episode premiere. The first episode is free on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's free on Adult Swim. You can go check it out if you're bored. But I'm going to be getting into spoilers here, so there's your warning. If you haven't seen the show, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but I'm going to be, so there's your warning. So let's start off by talking about Superman and how he is in this show. So this is a new take on the character. This isn't like an adaptation of anything. It's inspired by a lot of different things, and they're very much doing their own thing. It's very clear that they are doing their own thing here. Something that's a new element that they're doing here is Superman kind of can get inspired and get more powerful. They're kind of borrowing like Superman Blue, like when Dan Jurgens did that arc back in the 90s. There's a hint of that, because there's multiple times here where like Clark can't do something, and then he kind of like gets inspired and lightning shows up, and then he like becomes more powerful and is able to do what he wants to do. And so I don't really care for that. I think it's dumb. I saw a lot of people be like, oh, but it's from the comics. It's like, yes, but not everything from the comics is good. Like, just because you're borrowing from the source material doesn't mean it's good. I love comic books. I'm glad that they're borrowing things from the comics, but you should borrow the good things. Like when Superman split into Superman Blue and Red, it was really dumb, and I was not a big fan of it. And I don't think they're going to do that here. I don't think they're going to turn him into Superman Blue or anything. I think they're just having this be an aspect of his character. It's just something that they thought was cool and something they could do visually to show like some more style, because very anime inspired, this show. There's a lot of things in here that are very anime inspired. I think that's something that I wanted to be like, oh, we can show him sort of powering up with lightning. And I think it's dumb. I don't like it, but that's a thing they chose to do. So yeah, something else that was kind of dumb, and overall in the show is dumb, is the humor. Yes, it's a kid show, but you can still make kid shows that are funny, and this, it feels like it's like the lowest of the low of humor. Like they didn't even try. The humor's not very good, but for the beginning they do a whole bit where just Clark doesn't know how to control his powers, even though I don't know how old he is in the show. I don't know if it's ever said, but it's early 20s, I'm guessing, because he has an internship at the Daily Planet. And yeah, so he starts out the show not being able to control his powers at all, even though he's had his powers since it looks like he's like 10, because in the beginning we see him using his powers to save a lady and get something out of a tree. So it looks like he's had his powers for at least another 10 years, it seems, assuming at the beginning he's 10 and at the during this show he's 20. It seems like he's had his powers for like 10 years, and he doesn't know how to turn off an alarm clock without completely destroying it. He can't open a door without ripping the door handle off. And yeah, it's a funny bit for kids. I just don't really think it's a funny bit even for a kid. Like, I don't think a lot of kids are gonna be like, haha, Superman destroyed the alarm clock. That's very funny. I'm fun. This is fun. I don't know. It just seems kind of like Superman's just a doofus. And I saw some people saying, some people on Twitter were defending it, being like, oh, well, he's nervous because it's his first day at the Daily Planet, so that's why he was, doing all these things. It's like, no, because Jimmy mentioned that this is like, I don't know, the 7th alarm clock he's broken or something like that, because him and Jimmy are roommates. So it's like, okay, so it's not because he's nervous about the Daily Planet. Every single day he doesn't know how to turn off the alarm clock without breaking it. And his inner monologue is always just like, don't destroy this person's hand when you shake it. Don't like destroy this. And like, it's like, you think over the 10 years he would have figured out how not to just like kill people by touching them. So yeah, it's just a small gripe, because I get that it's like a kid's show and they're just trying to do a little thing, and they kind of drop it after the first episode. Granted, we're only 2 episodes in, so maybe third episode they bring it back, but who knows. But yeah, that I just like, is whatever. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. He's learning to be Superman in this. He gets his suit in the second episode. As Clark, I really like him. I think he's pretty good as Clark. I like seeing him do stuff, and honestly, the best part of the show is Clark and Lois together. They are very cute together, and it's great. I honestly love their little relationship right now. How they both immediately fall head over heels for each other when they see each other, and it's sort of like that Neither of them will admit it to each other though, and so it's very cute and it's very well done. And that's the best part of the show. Clark and Lois together, best part of the show, hands down. I really like how they're doing that, how they're handling it, and how Lois is actually falling for Clark and not where a lot of adaptations where she doesn't care about Clark at all and she falls for Superman. I really like that. I like that she's into Clark, and I like that they're both super nervous around each other, and it's great. And you got Jimmy butting in and ruining things for the two of them when they finally do get close. And like, I like it. I really like how their relationship's handled, and I do like the portrayal of Clark so far for the most part, other than him being a bumbling idiot. And I don't mean like he's pretending. I mean like you'd see in like Christopher Reeve. I mean like he's actually a bumbling idiot. As Superman, he's still learning things. He's still trying to figure everything out. We see that he had one encounter when, again, he was like 10 years old with the spaceship that he landed on Earth. He had one encounter, like it was really weird, and then he didn't touch it again until now. So now he goes back to Kansas and he has another encounter with it, and he talks to Jor-El. Jor-El has a sick design, by the way. Jor-El, I think, has the best design in the entire show, because a lot of the designs in this show, not very good. I like the way Clark looks. I think his design's good. His Superman suit, I like it other than the symbol. I think the S symbol isn't too great. I'm not the biggest fan of the S symbol, but other than that, I think the Superman suit's fine. I'm not a fan of 12-year-old boy Lois Lane. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you have, again, those Tumblr, Reddit, Twitter types talking about, oh, just simping over 12-year-old boy Lois. And I just like, okay, that's your thing. Because she doesn't even really look tomboy. She looks like a little boy. But neither here nor there. If that's your thing, good for you. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Lois's. Like, I feel like we've had a bunch of Lois's with short hair that didn't look like little boys, but this one, it felt like they wanted to make her look like a little boy. I don't know, it's weird. But that's just my thing. I know a lot of people disagree, because I have people on my Discord that I'm arguing with it about. They're like, no, Lois is so hot as this with this design. Is just okay. But yeah, that was one of the big things that blew up about this show. Well, I saw so many people on Twitter talking about how much they love this Lois design. It's like, good for you, I guess. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Either way, it doesn't take away too much, because Lois in the show is pretty good. I really like the portrayal of Lois in the show. Alice Lee, the voice actress, does an amazing job. I think she by far gives the best performance of anyone so far. Jack Quaid as Clark is fine. He's not my favorite Superman or anything, but he's all right. He's not bad, but I wouldn't say he's great or anything. He hasn't wooed me yet. Again, Alice Lee as Lois is fantastic, though. I think she's doing an amazing job as Lois, and she's a highlight. Jimmy Olsen is horrible in every way. They race swap Jimmy Olsen again, and he's just there to be like a dumbass. That's his whole purpose. That's the only purpose he serves in the show, is like, hey, look at how stupid Jimmy is. Isn't it funny? And that's Jimmy Olsen in the show. That's it. And I don't think his voice actor fits Jimmy Olsen either. And yeah, not the biggest fan of Jimmy Olsen. And I really don't get race swaps in animated shows. Like in live action, I think it's dumb, but I still at least get it. It's like, oh, maybe there's someone that like gave a really good performance, but they don't look like the character. They're a different race, and so you get them. It's like, okay, it's fine. But in this, it's like, it's animated. We have white people voicing black people, and black people voicing white people, and every race in between all the time in animated shows, and it's fine. Like, you don't have to race swap. I don't understand that. Of course, I get why they did it, but I mean, like, from an actual, why would you do this? It doesn't make sense to me. But that's my opinion on that. And yeah, I think Jimmy in this show sucks so far. Clark and Lois are good, but those three are the main ones. Perry White's only in the show for a little bit. He got race swapped again as well. He's just there to be like, you guys, do better. I'm the angry editor man. That's it. That's all he is. There's nothing else to his character right now. Because one of the different spins on this is, instead of, Superman gets to Daily Planet, and generally, like, Lois has been there for a while. She's already won a Pulitzer, and Jimmy will generally either has already been there for a bit or, like, just started around the same time as Clark. Well, this time, Lois has only been there for a little bit, but as an intern, and Clark and Jimmy just joined on the same day as interns. And so that's a different dynamic there, and it's interesting. It's fun because it's like the three of them getting into mischief and trying to figure things out and trying to like report on the stuff in Metropolis. And so it's interesting. They're fun. They're fun together, and it's mainly the Clark and Lois interactions that I like. Something that I really don't get about this show, though, is the fact that it's on Adult Swim and HBO Max, and I believe it premiered at midnight. But it's PG. It's not like TV 14 or anything, and there's a lot of stuff that's censored for TV. Like, the bad guys don't use guns; they use like GI Joe laser weapons, and I don't understand that. I don't get why. Why is this on Adult Swim? Why isn't it on Cartoon Network? Why is it on HBO Max? Like, what or Max? Sorry, they got dropped the HBO. why are you not taking advantage of the platform you're on? Because I don't understand why it's like, hey, here's a kid show for kids, except we're not putting it where it's easily accessible for kids because it's on Max and it's on Adult Swim. And again, I believe it premiered like midnight. So it's like, what kid's gonna stay up till midnight and watch the Superman show on Adult Swim? I don't think a whole lot. It's weird. It's like, why didn't you take advantage of what you're on? It's doesn't really make sense to me. I feel like that's kind of a fumbling there. But let's talk about the animation. So I believe the same studio that's animated this animated Legend of Korra, which no matter what you think of the Legend of Korra show, I think that show had some of the best action we've seen in a TV show in like the past 15 years. And so I was happy that they're doing this show. There's not a whole lot of action in the first 2 episodes, but a little bit we get is good. And I really like the portrayal of speed. Like when Superman's going fast, it looks really good. And so I'm excited to see future action sequences because the first 2 episodes, the action sequences, we didn't really get much. It's like Superman fighting a robot for a little bit and then some Livewire stuff. And yeah, I guess we can get into the villains. So Livewire is the main villain of the first 2 episodes. Horrific design. Horrible. They race swap Livewire as well. And Livewire has such a cool design in the comics, and she looks so unique. And then in this, they just, it's felt like they wanted to give her a more anime-like design or something, and she looks horrific. I hate it so much. She also doesn't really act like Livewire either. It might as well be a completely different character, but they make her Livewire, and it's just, it's bad. Livewire's horrible. She's leading this mercenary group that stole some robots, and so the Daily Planet crew is investigating it, and Superman's gonna put a stop to it. But also Deathstroke's involved because she stole the robots from like Amanda Waller and Deathstroke. And Deathstroke has the worst design of all time in this show. Man, I have been complaining for years about the generic ass Deathstroke designs we get in every adaptation. Every single adaptation, it's like, here's a black and orange suit. It's just a black suit, and Deathstroke has like half his face orange. That's it. And it's horrible because Deathstroke's original suit is awesome. It's so creative and cool looking, and we've gotten some cool variations of that, like Tony Daniel's suit. But most people are just like, what if we just made him all black and then just gave half his face orange so people would know it was Deathstroke? And it looks horrible. But my God, I would give anything to get that back compared to what we have now. He looks like some generic anime character. And also, again, to go with the censorship angle, he doesn't have a sword or guns. He has like 2 batons that he pulls out. And whoever cast this guy as Deathstroke in the show should get fired immediately. This guy doesn't sound like Deathstroke at all. Not even this version, not even this bastardized, horrible version of Deathstroke. This guy, it doesn't match. It's so weird. Everything they did with Deathstroke in the show is bad. And also, him and Livewire have some horrible dialogue when they're talking together. It's really bad when they're talking. Oh man, there's I wish I could remember what the lines were, but there's something along the lines of like they're talking about, she's like, "Are you Black Ops?" Blah blah, and then after that, like her and Deathstroke fight, and he goes, "Yeah, I am Black Ops," and it's really really bad. It's horrible. But yeah, the villains in the show are definitely not a highlight. And then at the end of the 2nd episode, we see Deathstroke interrogating Livewire with Amanda Waller there, and they mentioned Task Force X. So I guess we're gonna be seeing the Suicide Squad, and Deathstroke's gonna be leading that. Not excited about that. I hate any time they get Deathstroke involved with the Suicide Squad. That's not his thing. He's not a part of the Suicide Squad. They did that. They've done it before, and it's really stupid. I don't like this angle. I don't like Deathstroke working with Waller. I'm a big Deathstroke fan, and this is kind of like what they did with Livewire, where it's Deathstroke in name only. They completely changed him, and it's dumb. I guess we can go back and talk more about the scene in Kansas where Superman goes back to a ship after when he first saw it when he was 10. They do a really another dumb moment for humor where Jonathan and Martha Kent are both watching Clark because he's going to go and talk to his space dad or whoever that is, because they don't really know at that point. And it's a big moment. This is the first time he's done it since he was 10 years old. And then they just have a humorous moment between Jonathan and Martha that makes Jonathan leave. Where, like, it's just like a husband-wife thing. He's like, oh, I made the wife mad, and just leaves. And it's like, why? It's not funny, and it's really out of character for Jonathan to do that and just abandon his son right here when he's about to go into this scary spaceship, which last time he did, like, the ground, like, went out from underneath, and you guys almost died, and it's like, you guys are just gonna it. Just moments like that where it's like, hey, we're gonna do all this for a very unfunny joke, and it's like, if you're gonna do humor, could you at least make it funny or make sense at all? But yeah, that part was just it was dumb. And then yeah, Clark goes in there. He talks to Jor-El, but they don't really talk. And we get the anime girl sequence where he gets his suit. which is whatever. It's fine if that's what they want to do. Who cares? It's dumb looking sequence, but it's, again, they wanted to do an anime sequence with him getting his suit. And I didn't really care for how big the ship was and how it keeps expanding and everything, because if a gigantic ship like that landed in Kansas, it's a lot harder to do the whole, the government didn't come looking for the spaceship that landed in Kansas, and they were able to get away with like saving Clark and raising him and everything. To where if there's like a gigantic spaceship like the one, because it's gotten bigger since when he was 10, but when he was 10 they see it and it's huge, and then when he's 20 it's like even bigger. But yeah, that part's kind of I don't think they need to do that. I like when it's just a small little spaceship they could keep in the barn, but that's just a nitpick really. So overall, there's potential for this show. The Clark and Lois stuff is great, and it's the primary thing in this show. So the episodes were pretty enjoyable because of that. Anytime those two are together, it's gonna be interesting to see the triangle though that creates with Superman, because Superman just showed up now, because he fights Livewire at the end of the second episode, and him and Lois talk for a little bit. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with the triangle and how they handle it. And I'm hoping they handle it well. And yeah, so far I just want more Superman and Lois, or Clark and Lois, because those two together are great. But everything else in the show, I'm not looking forward to getting more Livewire. If we get any more Livewire, more Deathstroke is definitely happening. That's going to be horrible. I hope we get some good villains. I want to see some good villains. That's one of the big problems of the show, is the villains are horrible. They're really bad, and I'm hoping they capitalize on this animation studio, because the action so far has been kind of lackluster, even though I know the studio can do good action. And the little glimpse we've gotten has been kind of cool, but I hope they do better, especially with the subs and stuff. Like, there's parts where Livewire and Deathstroke were fighting, and they kind of just throw Deathstroke aside for no reason. Like, he's just kind of sitting there, and then he just attacks at random times just because they didn't really think of it with the pacing. They were just like, okay, we need Livewire to do this thing. It's like, okay, why isn't Deathstroke attacking her? It's like, whoa, we're just going to have him off to the side. And it's like, okay, that doesn't really make sense, but, So hopefully they think out the fight scenes in the future more. And yeah, so far, it's a mixed bag. I don't hate it. Like, I see a lot of people on Twitter hating on it. I also see a lot of people on Twitter loving it. Again, it's one of those things that's so polarizing. I don't get why you can't, just be in the middle about it and figure things out, instead of it's either, oh, it's all so bad, everything's horrible, look at all this, or it's all the best thing ever, it's so great, look at Tomboy Lois Lane, it's the amazing best show ever, I love it. I don't understand. There's a lot of things now where it's you have to be one or the other. You can't just just be like, I like that or I don't like that. Which there's a lot here where it's I like that and I don't like that. So again, so far it's a mixed bag. I'm looking forward to more episodes. I'm very happy that we have an animated Superman show that's actually getting some traction and attention though. That's cool. But yeah, we'll see how it goes from here. I don't know if I'll review future episodes. We'll see. But yeah, thank you to everyone for watching the video. Let me know in the comments below what did you think of these first two episodes, and I will see you guys later.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.